All right. While you were waiting for me to take attendance, I had just asked that you open up your This Is Us project and review the feedback that I added on your drafts. There's a couple ways that you can do that, and I'm going to show you screenshots of it in just a moment. We're going to talk about project feedback. I have a very quick update on the Find Someone Who task of your This Is Us project. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the identity collage, and I have some reminders about what symbolism is and what it is not. Because for most people, if you are on track with this project, your focus for the week should be the identity collage and the paragraph about it. So I'm going to talk for about 10 minutes, and then the rest of the period will be project work time. You can stay on with me. Please do stay on with me if you have questions. And if you want, you can turn your cameras off at that point, and just be working, and you can stay on so that you can ask questions if you have them, or you can leave at that point and work on the project. However, you're going to just stick with me for the next 10 minutes or so. All right. So you need to be making sure that you are regularly checking the feedback that you get on your work, not just in my class, but in all your classes. We're trying to work really hard to make sure we're giving you specific feedback, and it's definitely a little bit trickier this year because we're not always face-to-face in the classroom, and I can't just say, oh, hey, check out this, or make sure you make this change to this slide. So all of that, a lot of that feedback is coming through the private comments on your work. So I have Miss Green in my English class. I just wanted to show you a sample of what that feedback might look like. So you'll see here, I was complimenting her on her 5 facts and the information you shared, and gave her some reminders to proofread and double check her punctuation and proper nouns, the Find Someone Who, and that she had started her identity collage. If she wanted to reply back to me on this, maybe with a question or a comment, she can just click right there in that blue box and reply back, and I will try to get back to your comments very quickly. Or if you wanted to send a separate email, that works too. Where this lives is if you go into your project in Google Classroom, not if you just find it in your drive and open it, but if you go to Google Classroom and go to where the assignment is in classwork and you open it, on the far right side, you will see the comments that go back and forth. The other way that you can access it is through your email. You should have an email that looks like this. So it would say, Emily Robichaux added a private comment on This Is Us project. And when you open that email, you will actually see this full text right in the email. And it'll give you the option to click on it, and it'll bring you right to the assignment so that you can write back. You want to make sure that you are getting these email notifications of private comments on your work. It's really important, especially because on these Wednesday through Fridays, if we notice something like, hey, you've gotten off on the wrong foot here, we want to make sure that we're quickly solving those problems. Or if you've asked a question and we've responded through the private comment, that you're getting that. So if you are not seeing those notifications in your email, then you don't have your notifications set up correctly in Google Classroom. So if you remember this way back to the first week of school, when you're in Google Classroom, in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see those 3 bars. You click on that, you scroll all the way down to settings, and you need to have this setting turned on, private comments on work. You want to get notifications on that. You can have these all off. You don't have to have a notification about work being posted or other posts from teachers. You do need to have this one on, private comments on work, because that's how we're getting through to you. And of course, you also have to be regularly checking your school email. All right, if you have any questions about that, I will answer them in just a moment. And I know a couple of people said they didn't see feedback from me. I think I went through and sent everybody feedback. So stay on at the end if you don't have that, and I will double check because it could be my mistake. All right, Find Someone Who. Remember this fun activity from last Thursday? A little fun, a little chaotic, jumping in and out of breakout groups. If you missed this day, if you were absent or sick, or you were having Zoom issues, or you did part of it, but you kept getting kicked off, or couldn't get your board filled all the way, on Friday during our class, we will have a makeup breakout session. So everybody will come into class on Friday. You're coming regardless because we'll have a couple check-ins like this. And then I will assign people who need to finish this or get it done into breakout groups. to complete that task. Don't worry about that now. Just make sure that you show up to class on Friday and that you are on time, because remember, the Friday classes are really short. They're only 30 minutes. So we'll have to check in about a couple of things and then we'll get those breakout groups rolling. So don't stress about that if you're looking in your project and your board is still empty or it's only half complete. We'll have one more shot at that. Okay. So the big focus for today is the identity collage. We've gone over this before, so I'm just going to talk about it briefly, but a reminder that you should have 15 images or photos that represent different aspects of your identity. Up to 5 of those can be words or text, like word art or quotes or however you want to interpret that. And at least 3 of them must have symbolic meaning. And then you're writing your short paragraph. So you will see after this slide in your project, there is an empty slide for your collage, and there's a blank slide for where you will write your paragraph, and there's directions to do that. If you click on this purple box right here you will sample, collage, and paragraph. And if you click here, it will bring you to a sort of longish how-to video, but I've gotten a lot of questions about specific things of how to insert images, how to find certain ones with Google search features, how to put borders. All of that is covered in this video to keep you from having to watch the entire thing. If you look at the notes under this slide, it'll give you a breakdown of what I talk about at which points in the video, and you can just skip to that. It's also in the YouTube description. In order to be able to click on these, you have to be in presentation mode. So you have to be in your project and click present. And then that would make it so that you can click on this. If you try to click on it when you're just in edit mode, you won't be able to. So you'll see that my collage appears, my example 1, and then my paragraph explaining it. And we've talked about this before, but again, it's a balance of me explaining the pictures that I've put in that have literal meaning for me, like places I've lived, like New York and Chicago and Ireland, and then pictures that have more symbolic meaning, like this calendar down here, the microphone, the bed with the X through it, and I've explained those symbols. You want to have a balance of both of those because, yes, I want to know that, hey, this is my family and this is what's really important to me, or here's a picture of us skiing because I love to ski. That's great, but you also need to pull in some symbols. So I wanted to remind you about the difference between what a symbol is and what a symbol is not. So these examples on the left here are not symbolism. A picture of a cat because you just love cats. You should have that on your collage. I want to know that. That's fun for me to find out about you. And if you're really passionate about cats, go ahead and put that. But just because you put a picture of, say, a clip art of Garfield that isn't your cat, it's not really the symbolism that we're looking for. If you say, well, this isn't my cat, but it symbolizes that I have cats. Okay, but we're looking for more like metaphorical symbols of your identity. If you just put a picture of a hockey stick because you're an athlete, that's great. You should have that, but that's not symbolism. And a picture of Chicago because you used to live there, like I have that on mine, that's not what I'm talking about when I'm talking about symbolism. Those are all great things. Put them on your collage. But when we're talking about your 3 symbols, here are some examples of what I mean. I could put a picture of a cliff on my collage and talk about how it symbolizes that I'm a risk taker. So not here's a cliff because I like to rock climb, but more because I take risks. You could do both of those things. A picture of a support beam, like the kind you see in houses or large buildings, because you believe we should always support our friends and loved ones. That's symbolism. Or a picture of tree roots to symbolize how grounded you are. That's symbolism. So an image that doesn't have literal meaning necessarily, but it symbolizes some aspect of who you are as a person. And remember that if you're getting stuck, these are the questions that I had in that video from last week, like which aspects of your identity could be captured through an object? What do you care most about? What are your values and core beliefs? Like, what do you live by? What are you passionate about? And how could you represent that symbolically? Okay, so that's what we're focusing on this week. What should be done already is the survey. This says last week, it was actually 2 weeks ago. The 5 facts from last week, we started those 2 weeks ago as well. And your reader's notebook entry number 2, that should have been done either Monday or Tuesday of this week. What to work on this week, you need to be making your collage and writing the collage paragraph. So those are your focus points. Certainly, if you had your 5 facts done, but you have a comment from me in the feedback saying, hey, great job on this, but you forgot to add your images, or you need to proofread these sentences, start there, get those fixed up, and then move on to your collage.